Okay, Al, we've spoken several times on Zoom through the pandemic. Now we're back in the flesh. It's great to see you in person.
Great to see you. It's true, you've got legs. See, we know now.
And pants on too. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, let me ask you. I've been asking a lot of folks on the show floor and around about what they see as the state of play right now. We're still pretty much in flux, right? I mean, the pandemic's not over, but starting to feel some grass shoots shooting up. What do you think?
It's not quite the new normal, but we're getting there. I think you've always got to look at the positives, haven't you? And the people that are really keen to keep pushing the message, get involved, look at how we can take things forward. There's a lot of them here. People are engaging now. I love the fact that it's those face-to-face conversations and sharing ideas. But it's actually really refreshing that rather than we're back to normal, so that means we go back to the way it was. The narrative is, what have we learned? How can we make the most of that? And more importantly, how can we make sure we take that forward? Which I think is just so critical.
Yeah. Any particular discoveries or innovations during the course of the pandemic that you think that you're going to take and use going forward?
Yeah, I think there's always that perception that some of the tools that allow, for example, for remote working, will have a negative effect on productivity. Actually, there's lots of efficiencies to be gained from that. But those same tools you can use to try and support well-being, reduce workload, people not commuting, saving time, going to a school setting, sharing resources rather than people being in silos has that same benefit. Wearing my school hat, there's been some really huge benefits with the technology we've put in place for parental engagement and community engagement. And the more we get parents involved in that learning journey, we know the better it is all round. So I think we've got some lessons. What we haven't quite sussed yet is new ideas, new technology, which is a tick in the box for me. You can try things without worrying about failure. That's where you get innovation. But we haven't yet captured how do we make the time to actually allow people to get the most from it. And I think that conversation is just as relevant in the corporate setting as it is in the education setting. We want people to acquire new skills, but we're kind of hoping they'll do it on their own. And I think the smart is make the time to make them more efficient and get it embedded quicker.
Yeah. Now, how about on the industry side? They've really stepped up at the beginning of the pandemic, and we spoke about this before, just in terms of opening up services and products and curriculum, desperate attempts to get the students connected and just feel safe and secure.
I think the EdTech sector really stepped up, at significant cost in some cases, to really try and support education.
Yeah.
And in many cases, they did an amazing job. Sadly, because of the pressures within schools to meet the needs of keeping children safe and worrying about absences, for many that wasn't the time to go out acquiring technology. And some of the newer startups, some of the businesses within the EdTech space really suffered from that, and some unfortunately are no longer with us. And I think that's part of that community and that support together, that we're in it for a long haul. You recognise the challenges in schools, and what the best vendors have done is adapt their solutions to make them relevant to what schools need now, not what they needed 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and how about on your literary front? How's the book going, and what are next steps there?
Thank you. Well, I really enjoyed writing it, quite cathartic, and I always joke about the fact that, reach that age, if I didn't write it down, I might start forgetting it. But in reality, it's something that starts a conversation. People always say, so what's the answers in the book? And the answers are, here's what we've learned, here are the things to consider, here are the questions to ask. No two schools are the same.
Yeah.
And I think the big win for me personally, is that people who wouldn't see EdTech as their thing, they're not techies, are engaging and reading it and saying, you know what, that was an easy read and I really understood what you were trying to get at. And if we make it everybody's business and everybody can engage in the discussion, we'll all be better for it.
Yeah. And the title is, and where can we find it?
My Secret EdTech Diary, available on all good online bookstores.
Fantastic. Well, Al, thanks again for your time, and I hope to see you at BET.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
Great.